Hey guys, welcome to my channel, and in this video we are going to learn about the git commands that are frequently used. In my last video you would have seen the introductory part of the git. So git is basically a version control system through which we can maintain the history of the project, and GitHub is a interface or a UI where we can host our git repositories. So let's see how we can see the history of projects. Suppose if you go to any repository opening the github.com. So over here you can see there is written 11,620 commits. That means these many changes were made on this repository. And now if you click on the commits, you can see in detail like which commit was made when, by which person. And also if you open this commit, you can even see that which file was changed during this commit. So you can see complete history we can see with the help of GitHub and Git. So similarly, we will see how we can maintain the history of our folder or our project. So let's say we first of all will make a folder mkdir. This is the command to make a folder, the name of the folder. We'll move into this folder. So right now if you do ls, you can see this is an empty folder. Even if you do the ls -a, that means all the hidden files. So it's basically empty. So how do we initialize? The first thing is that we have to initialize any folder so that we can maintain the history of the changes. We do that with the command git init. So you can see some messages that pop up over here using the master as the name of the initial branch. So I'll talk about the branches later on. This basically means that your folder has been initialized with the git. How you can confirm it? You can do ls. How you can do this? You can do ls and confirm if this folder was initialized with git. So let's see ls -a. Over here you can see .git folder has been created. What happens if we go into this folder right now? .git and do ls. There are many things over here. I'll talk about them later on. The most important thing that you have to focus about is the head. Head is basically the pointer which points at where your current history is or where your current changes are being done. We go back and try to make some changes. Let's do some vi example.txt. So we will insert with I hello world. Okay, so if we do ls, now you can see example.txt has been created. If we open this or we can view the changes, you can see over here there is hello world. So now what do we have to do to save the change that is made? Right now, first of all, what we do is, first of all, we see which file changes have not been saved yet. We do it with the command git status. So what does it write? On the branch master, I'll tell you about the branches later on. No commits yet, there is no commit done. These are the untracked files. So this is example.txt which is shown in red, and this is not tracked. So basically any change you do in this file, it won't be tracked, it won't be saved. So how do we do it? How do we save it? The first command that we use is the git add. We write git add and we name the files whose changes we have to track. So right now there is only one file. We can write example.txt, git add example.txt. Now if we do git status, we can see it has been moved from red to green. It's writing changes to be committed, new file example.txt. That means now we can see this is the file which is not tracked, but still it's not being saved. It's writing changes to be committed. So how do we save it? So we use the command git commit, and then we write -m flag that stands for a message. So over here we can write example.txt created. Now you can see one file changed, two insertions, create mode, this. Now if you do git status, nothing to commit, working tree is clean. That means the changes have been committed. Now how we can see the changes? How we can see the change cut? So now how we can see the changes that were made? We can do with the command git log. If you do git log, we can see there is written commit, there is a commit ID. This is a unique ID with which we can identify every commit uniquely. So this is a commit ID and is writing head is on the master. So right now we have only one branch and this is where our head is pointing at. And the author name is written, that is my name. This is the date and here is the commit message that we pass, example.txt created. So let's go and make some more changes to this. Vi example.txt. So this is a Vim editor. We can insert anything with the command I. Yes, and now we can make change. To save this, we type the command escape and then colon wq. Okay, so now we do git status. It says modified. This file was modified, example.txt. So to again save this, we do the same, git add the name of the file. You can also use git add dot. Suppose there will be many files and you have to save all those files. So you can simply use dot. It will track all those files. Git add dot, git commit -m, file changed. Okay. So now if we do git status, the tree will be clean, and if we do git log, yeah. So now we see there are two commits. This is the previous commit, example.txt was created, and this is the new commit that we did right now, that is file changed. And over here you can see our head pointer is now at this commit in this very branch. Okay, so you can see every commit is made on top of each other. Now again, if you will make a commit, then it will be made on top of the file changed commit. So basically what Git uses internally to maintain all the commits, it uses a stack data structure. That means on the top of each other. So let's see, let's do some more changes. Vi sample.txt, we will go into the insert mode with I. Okay, status is modified. Let's make one more file, vi example2.txt. Okay, so you can see this is the file which we already put to track, so it is getting tracked. That means now it can track that this file was modified, example.txt, and this is a new file and it is not tracked yet. So we can use the command git add dot, because we want all the commits to be made. Git add dot. Now if we do git status, so it has been moved to green and now it is ready to be committed. So git commit -m, more changes. Now if we do git log, now we can see there have been 3 commits made, and this is our latest commit. Suppose this was a redundant commit, or this is a commit that has been made by mistake by us. Suppose this was the commit where we made the change and our application broke, and now we want to remove this commit. We want to go back in the previous stable commit where our application was working. So in this case, I will want to go back to this commit because this is the commit that was okay to me. I was fine with this. So this is the commit that has been made by mistake. So how do we go back to this commit? For that, first of all, what we do is we will copy this commit ID, That means the ID of the commit where we want to go. So we can copy this, Control C, and we will use the command git reset, and then we will paste the commit ID. Okay, you can see over here there has been a message that has come, unstaged changes after reset. And if we do git log, git status, we can see both these files have been moved back to the unstaged area. Okay, so now if we want to remove this change, we want to discard it, we no longer require this. So what we will do is, either we can delete manually, or suppose there were a lot of changes that was made and we have again unstaged it. So for that, there is another command, that is git stashing. So stashing is basically a temporary area where our code, which we don't need anymore, we can put our code into that very area. So how do we do it? So let's see, we do git add dot. That means we will add all these files. And now if we do git status, so again it has been moved to green. So whenever we do git add dot, we have got two options from here. Either we can save those changes or we can discard those changes. So with the help of the command git commit, so far we were saving the changes. Now we want to remove these changes. So for that we will use the command git stash. Git stash. Now save working directory and index state WIP on master file change. So some message has come, you don't need to know this. So basically if you see this ID 561568159, so this matches the first few. So basically if you see this very ID, you can see it matches with this very commit ID. The first few text or the first few characters, you can see it is matching. So basically it means that our index and our head is now at this very position. So now if you do git log, now you can see our head is at this commit ID, and now there are only two changes or two commits, and this change has been moved to the stashing area. Now suppose we want to put some more changes into the stashing areas. That means I'm showing you first of all the use case of the git stash, what we can do with git stash as well. So now let's make some more changes, some redundant changes. That means we won't save them. Vi sample.txt, insert mode, hey friends, git add dot, git commit -m. Oops, sorry, I'm not saving this change. So if we do git status right now, you can see this file has been modified. So we'll stash this change. Git stash. This file was not saved, so our project is still in the same way. If you do git log right now, there are only two commits yet. But what about the stashing area? So we stashed two things in the stashing areas. The first thing which we stashed was, there was a modification made in the example.txt and a file example2.txt was created. This was the first thing which we stashed. The second thing which we stashed was, we modified example.txt. Okay, so now let's suppose the changes that you made and you stashed it, now you want to get back those changes. Maybe those changes did not work, but still you want those changes back in your project. Maybe you can try some new things with that changes. So how we can do it? How we can take out the changes from the stashing area and move it back to our project? For that, we have got the command git stash pop. So let's see what happens when we do git stash pop. Git stash pop. So now if we do git stash pop, you can see this very commit, that this very change, that example.txt was modified, has come back again. Correct? So if we do git status, so this is what will be shown when we do git status. That means that this file was modified. But what about this change? This change did not come. This file was modified and a new file was created. Remember that when we stashed our changes, we stashed in two parts. First one was those two files were changed. One was created and one was changed. First of all, we stashed that, and secondly, we stashed this thing. And secondly, we stashed after making modifications into example.txt. So basically, there was two changes that were stashed. So when we did git stash pop, we received back the first change, or you can say we received back the last change that we made into the git stashing area. So basically, our stash is just like a stack data structure. We get back the last very changes that were stashed. That means stash is basically very similar to the stack data structure. That means the first changes that will be put in into the stash, we will receive it at the very end. So at the most last, which changes were put into the stack area? The changes were that example.txt was modified. This change was put first into the stashing area. So whenever we do git stash pop, this change you will get back first. So that means the changes will be stashed at the most end. We will receive that first when we do git stash pop. So now we have received modified example.txt. Now what if we again do git stash pop? Let's see. And before that, we can see like which changes we have got back. With that, for that we use the command git diff. We use simply git diff and the name of the file example.txt. So hey friends was the last change that we made, if you remember. So now let's again do git stash pop. Git stash pop. Please commit your changes, stash them. Okay. First of all, what we will do is we will save this very change. Suppose we have received back this change and we want to save it. Git add dot commit -m file saved. So now if you do git log, file saved is a new commit that has been made. Now again we do git stash pop. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so now you can see we have received both the changes. That means new file that was created and the modified part. So right now we are seeing there are some merging conflicts. I'll tell you about all this, but before, just let me resolve it. Basically, what has happened right now over here is I have tried to make two changes in the same place. That is why I'm receiving there is a merge conflict. So I have to correct it manually. I'll tell you later on in deep what git merge conflict is. WQ. So again, so yeah, that was an example. Suppose we have received back our files that were in the stashing area, and now we have done some modifications, and now you can see it is working, and now we want to save it. So git add dot git commit -m more changes. Now again we do git status. There is nothing to be committed, and if we do git log, you can see now there are 4 commits that has been made. Now let's try to make some more changes, and again we won't save them. Let's see, vi example.txt. insert mode. So yeah, this file has been modified and we will put it in stash area. Git add dot git stash. So this change has not been saved. Again, if we make some changes, vi example2.txt, insert mode, so this is another change. We will again git add it and then we'll move it to git stashing area. Now suppose the changes that you put in stashing areas, you don't need it anymore. So you will want to empty your stash area. For that, we have got the command git stash clear. Now if we do git stash pop, no stash entry is found. So we were trying to remove the changes, or basically I mean we were trying to get back our changes from the stashing areas, but since we did git stash clear, we won't receive any such entries. Another thing that you need to know, that whenever you are working with the stash area and there are multiple changes, and now you want to get back something, a commit that was in the middle. That means suppose there are 5 commits in the stashing area and you want the third one. So you cannot get back the third one directly, because stash is using internally stack data structure, and we know the principle of stack data structure. That means you have to remove the elements from the top. You have to keep removing. So yes. Next thing which we are going to see is GitHub, like how we can host our projects on GitHub. So now this is our project. This is a test folder, and inside this we have got a couple of files and we want to save it. So this is a very small use case. In a real world, we will working with many files with lots of changes, and people will be collaborating on these changes if it is an open source, and even if it is private, we give access to few people and we can collaborate. So let's see how we can host these changes to the GitHub remote repository. Right now this is in our local repository. Basically this is in our computer. So there are chances that we can lose this file because of number of reasons. So we will want to save these things in a safe place. So we open GitHub, and over here you can see there's your repositories. Suppose I start a new repository. I'll create repository name. I will write test git. Let me keep it as public, and then create repository. So there are few commands that have come right now. The first thing it is saying is echo this. We don't need this. It's saying to git initialize it. We have already done. Git add readme. I'll tell you about it. Then we have to do git commit. All these things we have done. This git branch we have to do. So all these things I'll tell you. So right now what you have to do? Right now what you have to do is, we have created this repository, but this is empty right now. And this is the files that we have to move from our local to this very remote repository. So how we will do it? For doing it, the first thing we have to do is connect our local repository to this very remote repository. How do we do it? For that, first of all, what we do is we will copy this command. You can see over here it is a SSH. You can do it in a two way. You can do it either using the HTTPS URL, or you can do it with the SSH URL. So I'll do it with the SSH. I'll tell you in detail how we can do it, how we can set up a SSH key pair for our Git and GitHub, so that we can connect our local repository to the remote repository. I'll tell you that in another video. So right now here we copy this command, and now what we do is we will do git remote add origin and then the URL. So what things have I done over here? First thing is git is the general git command, then remote. So remote here means now we will be working with the remote repositories. Add means that we are adding a new URL to our repository. Origin and then the name of this URL. So origin is nothing. Origin is basically the name that you are giving to this URL. We won't be calling every time our remote repository by this complete URL. We'll be just using the keyword origin, and our Git will automatically know that we have to push the changes or pull the changes. I'll tell you about pushing and pulling the changes from this very URL. So you can name anything. You can name this URL to be anything. I have, for convention it is used origin. For you can use it whatever you like. So now if we do enter, so nothing has happened. But if we do git remote, you can see over here origin has been made. So you can basically relate this to be a phone number. This is the name of the person, origin, and this is the phone number. We don't remember the phone number, we always remember the name of the person, and our phone automatically finds it. So if you want to see like which number is being associated with this name, for that we can see git remote -v. You can see origin, fetch and push. I'll tell you about these things. Basically, it means that every time we do git fetch or git pull, we will receive all our remote changes from this very repository. And whenever we push our local changes to the remote, it will always get pushed to this very URL. Okay. So now we want to push all our changes we have done so far. What changes have we done? Again, we can see using the command git log. So we have done 4 changes. 4 changes we have saved. So if we do git push origin master, I'll tell you about this. What is git push origin master? Basically means that git push is that we will be moving all our local changes to the remote changes, and origin again, that means the URL. To this very URL you have to move, and into this very branch, that is master branch. I'll tell you about this as well. So we have got some message over here enumerating these objects, counting these objects, compressing, and okay. So let's see our GitHub remote repository, and so yeah, we can see our changes have come to this place. If we open example.txt, you can see all our changes over here, and example2.txt, this change is here as well, and so we can see all our commit that we have made over here. If we open any commit, you can see that these files we have changed. So that's all in this video. We'll be talking more about git commands. We will know what git branches are. We will see about some more advanced commands of the git, and how can we collaborate, how a pull request is made, and how we can merge the conflicts. So we will see everything in our next video. So if you have liked this video, please like and subscribe.